Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Tim Meyer, here for the Romeo Sports Recap, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. And before we begin, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Romeo Sports Recap. I'm Tim Meyer, and I'm joined here by varsity baseball coach TJ DeLaMaliere. And TJ, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here. Thanks for having us.
So tell the folks out there how you got involved with coaching varsity baseball at Romeo.
Well, I went to high school at Romeo and graduated from Romeo. So, as I got my education degree and, I kind of got my education degree because I was really interested in staying involved with baseball and coaching. And, the opportunity presented itself to be able to come back to Romeo. And I started off as a varsity assistant my first year, and then ended up taking over the position in 2005 was my first year as the head coach at Romeo. So I had a couple stops along the way. I helped out a buddy at Stony Creek, and while I was still kind of before Romeo, but it was a really good opportunity for me to get back and be able to coach Romeo. So.
Yeah, having gone there and then coming back, sort of like coming back home almost,
Right, yeah.
Where some of the keys are to the castle there. So that kind of helps. Hey, you coach other sports besides baseball?
No, I do not. When I first started teaching, I coached football as well. But at a certain point, it just got to be a little much with, family coming and things like that. So I decided just to go with what my passion was, and that was baseball.
Yeah, I played varsity baseball too, and played a little bit in college, not a whole lot. As soon as I found out the competition up there after we played U of M, it was a little bit too much for me. I never faced anybody who was 6'7", and all I could hear was the sound of the ball. I couldn't even see it. So I knew that it was time.
Yeah.
But you guys are in a pretty tough division, Romeo is. In the MAC Red, Dakota, you got Grosse Pointe South is traditionally a really good baseball school. Utica Ford, Stevenson's been up there quite a bit. And then your kind of closest rival would be Eisenhower, or at least geographically. Mm-hmm. Who would be your biggest rival in that division?
It's typically been Eisenhower just because, the location of our schools being right next to each other. But when you get into our conference, it's tough to choose which one is your biggest one. Every single series is really big. And you're right, it's one of the best divisions and conferences in the state. And every single week is a new level of competition. So it's tough to single out one program being our rival, but I would have to say whoever we're currently playing in the MAC Red at that particular time.
I would say baseball too. You guys were 18-18 this year, so 36 games and probably could have played 40 or so. But if you guys play the most games out of any sport, there's no other sport that plays more. I don't think basketball does unless they make it to the States, but I mean, you guys are
we play a ton of games in a short period of time. It's we start the 1st of April with our games and our schedule when we get back from spring break, and it's 36 games in 2 months, and we're averaging 5 games a week, and that's normal. So
is it difficult to teach the kids? Coach the kids when you have, it seems like a game, almost don't have time to adjust.
Well, you definitely limited on your practices, and we're playing 5 games a week, and it's you get 2 days a week to really practice. And at that point, early on we try to spend a lot more time coaching and improving on our mistakes, but you got to kind of manage your team in the right way when it gets down into the middle to end of May, and we give a little bit more rest at that particular time, just because our guys need it, not only physically but mentally.
Yeah, it can be mentally challenging to just one right after the other.
Right.
And especially, I mean, we're not even talking about the things that happen in the game,
Yeah.
that can wear guys down. And so you did get to play at Jimmy John's again this year. You probably hate that place, but
Oh,
how hard is it to play there? And
it's it's an experience for our guys. It's the one game a year where it's more about the experience and environment that Jimmy John's brings than anything else. So, all our guys get some time, and it's a really good experience that I think they really enjoy. So we make sure we make it happen every year.
You guys were off to a good start, 5-1, and then you ran into Sterling Heights Stevenson for 4 games in a row, and you lost all 4, but they were all close games. I mean, when you're playing them, what was?
Well, it's a 3-game series. There was a cancellation or a suspended game, so that's why it probably showed up as 4. But we lost 3, and when we get to those, we won our first 2 red series, and when you're trying to compete for a red title, it's really important to be able to take every series that you can. And a lot of the games in the MAC Red are coming down to 1-run, 2-run ball games, and we just kind of fell on the wrong side of those that week. And I don't think it really took too much wind out of our sails, but we got to probably a little bit of an injury bug at the wrong time. And I say a little bit of an injury bug, but we definitely went through our share of injuries at really a kind of a peak, time in our schedule, which was challenging. So. Yeah, those Stevenson's going to be very good every year. Dakota's going to be exceptional every year. Really,
you didn't have much success with them after you had to play them after.
Yeah,
a couple of games, and you play them right away.
That back-to-back Stevenson Dakota, point in our schedule, and that was compounded by we had 7 injuries throughout at that particular time. So it made things even more challenging than it had to be if we were even healthy. So, I was really proud of the way the guys, came back and rebounded after those 2 series, though.
Yeah, you came back and you won a few. You actually finished the season fairly strong, beating Troy 6-0, and they're always tough to. Anytime you beat an Oakland County team is good, and then you won your first district against Port Huron Northern, and then had a tough game against Anchor Bay with a 1-run loss. What happened in that game?
It's typically typical baseball. We played outstanding on district day. We, I thought we had every opportunity to win the district title there against Anchor Bay. They're a really good team, and their lineup top to bottom is exceptional. And we were winning 3-1 for most, up until the bottom of the 6th, and they put together a rally with 2 outs and scored 3 runs with 2 outs, and all of a sudden, before we even could blink an eye, it was 4-3. So it was a very difficult loss for us, just because we had played so well throughout the entire day at Port Huron Northern, and then for 6, 5.5 innings against Anchor Bay, and then
you're winning 3-1, as you said.
Yeah,
and then they got the hits, and
yeah, they had some timely hits.
Would you have done anything different in that game?
No, obviously, you replay those things after a loss and 100 times. But you put guys in positions and hope that we make plays. And our starter, who threw an outstanding game, he's you'll hear from him in a little bit, but he ran out of pitches. He maxed out his pitch count, and so we had to bring a guy in relief. The guy we brought in was outstanding all year. He had a tough at bat that didn't go our way. We thought we had a guy struck out that would have ended the inning, and the next pitch, kid hit a double down the line. So yeah, so it was just it was unfortunate and the way it ended, but obviously, yeah, you replay it as a coach and think, hey, what could I have done differently? But, these guys, they did an outstanding job and they played really hard. And, they hit the ball exceptionally well that day against a really tough pitcher. Kid's going to Michigan. And we chased him out of there after, I think, 5. And, obviously, just sometimes that happens that way in the game.
So you talked a little bit about pitch count. What is the legal or the amount of pitches a high school pitcher can throw?
So they're limited to 105 pitches. They can't start a new hitter once they've reached their 105th. And we were trying to get Adam through the 6th. And, I think they had a single, and it was like that was his last pitch. And so we had to make a change.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that, but it's not a choice.
Yeah, no.
that you get to make.
I think Adam probably would have thrown 150 if I would have let him that day. But and obviously we wouldn't have let him do that. But 105 was the limit.
Yeah. A little bit about this team. If you could sum up this team in a few sentences, I mean, the chemistry, the personality of the team, how would you do that?
I think they were a fun group of guys to be around, as they all got along well. I thought our seniors did an outstanding job of leading us. And they were passionate. Every time they stepped on the field, they truly wanted to compete and win. And so that was fun. I'm a pretty competitive person, and I think these guys were just as competitive each and every game.
And some individual stars, guys that kind of led you guys this year. Who can you mention?
Well, we had some guys lead us on both sides. Buster DeBowl, you'll talk to him in a little bit as well. He led our offense, led our team in home runs and RBI and hits. And so he was kind of the focal point of our offense. But ultimately, we were an offense that kind of really was, we got to be aggressive. We stole bases, we hit and ran. And then our middle of the lineup guys really came through with some power and some gaps and RBI. And so we really tried to, as an offensive team, try to set the tone with our speed and rely on some of those guys in the middle of the lineup like Buster and Matt Whiteman and Nick Kaminsky to drive in some runs for us.
And how about pitching?
Pitching, we and that's another thing too. Our pitching going into the season, I was thought I was very confident with our pitching staff and our starting rotation, and then we had a couple injuries, and unfortunate, but I often think about where we could have been if we could have been healthy as far as our pitching staff goes. But the guys that did step up did just an outstanding job.
You had some injuries with the pitching staff.
Yeah. So we had one. Buster was our leading guy in innings and strikeouts his junior season, and didn't pitch an inning this year because of an arm injury that happened over spring break. And Matt Whiteman was a league starter for us and ended up not being able to pitch down the stretch in our district because of an injury, and he battled a couple of them down the stretch. But the guys that did step up, Adam Place, Nick Kaminsky, some of those guys, Will Scally and Alex Robertson and Ben Taylor and Joey Badalamenti, those guys, they did a really good job of stepping up and kind of filling the roles that we were missing with those two injuries.
And I did see the game, Jimmy Johns, and sat right behind the catcher. I thought he called a pretty good game, caught a pretty good game, the catcher that you had in there. It looked like he had a pretty decent arm too, so
Yeah, I'm not sure which one you're referring to. We played two catchers that day, and both of them really did a nice job all year for us defensively.
Who were they?
Cooper Meadows and Noah Williams.
Okay.
Noah was a senior and Cooper's a junior. But both of them are very smart players. They've been around the game a lot. We typically call pitches throughout I actually call the pitches. But I was very confident, when we get into games like that and to let them call them themselves. And they're just smart baseball players, and they kind of know how to their staff, and they also know how to attack guys.
Now, next year, how do you feel about next year? Do you think you're pretty positive about next year? What do you think's coming back?
Well, I'm excited about the guys that are coming back. Obviously, after every single year, you think about what you're losing, and we're losing a lot this year. We're losing 6. It's not like I've had years where we've lost 12, but those 6, were big contributors, both on the mound and offensively. So we do have some big shoes to fill, and we'll typically every year you got to say, hey, who's going to step up and who's going to fill.
Who do you think you're looking at to step up a little bit? A couple of guys that maybe.
Well, we had 3 sophomores on our varsity team. We had a lot of young guys contribute. Our starting outfield was all underclassmen. A couple infielders were underclassmen. So, I think that we're good. We need to be able to step up in our power and who's going to hit in the heart of our lineup. And I think we have some guys that can step up, but it's going to determine, I guess, their work ethic, and the off season is going to really kind of determine that.
Nobody in the transfer portal or
No,
not
not that I'm aware of. Although these days I feel like guys are transferring, and I don't know, it's a different game than when I first started coaching. That's for sure.
Yeah, just like the pros. Well, you play in the field, I think by community center there.
We play behind the middle school. Well,
okay,
we did play behind the middle school. So we just finished up the last game there. And you drive by it now, and there's nothing left. But they didn't take long of tearing it down. But there's a lot of games and a lot of memories at that field, and we're excited about the new one coming in. But it's a little bittersweet. When it was sad to see the old one go.
Tell me a little bit about the new ballpark that they're building. It's right behind the football stands there, the home stands, the press box.
Right, yep.
What can you tell me about maybe dimensions? Is it going to be turf? Is it going to be grass? What's it going to be?
Yeah, you know what? It's going to be beautiful. I think it's gonna be all turf. And they did a really nice job of pretty much, I think, doing it the right way. So it's going to be all turf, which makes sense at the time of the year we have to play, March, April, May. So it's going to be nice.
We'll have to play in a lot of mud, maybe.
Well, it's the old field was really nice, but there was a lot of work that went into it, and rain and getting everything right and making sure the grass is good and the weeds are taken care of, and there's a lot of maintenance on that field, and oftentimes, we would get rained out, or we would get, we'd have to spend a lot of time trying to get the field playable based on the elements and the weather. So I don't think we're going to have to obviously do as much. Obviously, we're going to do a little bit, but
turf will help that a lot.
Yeah. So the field, I'm excited about. It's coming along nice. They really took exactly what we kind of wanted, and they went with it, and so I was really happy about that. So I think once it's ultimately all done, it's going to be a really nice facility.
And what are the dimensions going to be? To center and right. Remember?
It's going to be. I don't have it.
Is it going to be a hitter's ballpark, or is it going to be?
It's like 310 down the lines, but it will get pretty big, pretty quick in the alleys. Just the way it's kind of a little bit different. Fence than what we're used to, and it's not just an arc. It gets deep into the alleys. So, I think it's going to be, I think it's probably a good average size high school field. So,
yeah. Do you think that it'll lend itself to? You talk about the gaps between, in left center and right center. You think it's going to lend itself to a lot of extra base hits like triples and doubles? You think you're going to have guys that can hit it up the alley there?
Well, I think we will, yeah, for sure. And the surface is going to be, play faster, so balls will travel a little bit more on the ground. So, I think that we're going to have some more extra base hits on it. I think we'll probably ultimately have the same amount of home runs and things like that. But ultimately, there's so much that goes into, what way the wind's blowing. And, there will be games at our field, our old field, where the wind's blowing out at 20 miles an hour. And then we'll have 5 or 6 games where the wind's blowing in at 20 miles an hour. So,
the wind does blow out there.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. If you stand I stand on top of the press box there, it almost blew off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty powerful. And you're right, both ways.
Well, I think we'll have less wind here just because we were up on the hill, and we definitely got a lot of wind at the old field. But, so I guess that I think it will be a good size ballpark for high school baseball.
And when will it open? Will it open just next year for your season, or are they going to open it up to amateur play?
I think it will. Our first game will be played our season and our first next year. So in 2025 will be the first official game at the new field.
Are kids excited about it?
I think the kids are really excited. I think that they're starting to see more of it. They should be laying turf here any day now, and as they start to see more progress with it, I think they're going to start getting really excited.
And they have the dugouts up yet?
The dugouts are not finished, but they're a lot of the work is done with the dugouts. It's almost finished, really. They got a little bit of work, obviously, to lay the turf. They got the batting cages and bullpens and the roofs on the dugouts, but and the backstop. But I think that will go pretty quick once the turf gets down.
And this money came all out of your pocket, right?
Yeah, for sure. We had on my coaching salary, we just
yeah, just donate.
No, fortunately, the community came together with the bond, and it's going to be a beautiful facility.
Well, it'll be great, and I can't wait to be out there next season to see you guys play on it. It should be fun, and I appreciate you coming by and talking a little Romeo Varsity baseball, and wish you the best of luck next year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll be back with more of the Romeo Sports Recap with some players after this.
Before we continue, here on the Romeo Sports Recap Show, a word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.
And welcome back to the Romeo Sports Recap Show. Tim Meyer here. I'm with Romeo Varsity baseball players Buster DeBoll and Adam Place. And gentlemen, welcome to the Romeo Sports Recap Show.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
We'll start with you, Adam. How did you get involved playing baseball?
Well, I actually started when I was 3 years old in a 5-year-old league. It's pretty cool. One of my varsity coaches, Mark Shetler.
Wait, you were 3 and
and because one of my varsity coaches, Mark Shetler, actually let me play in that league, and so it was pretty full circle when he came back to coach this year.
So like a T-ball league, and
it was a coach pitch league at that age, and I really wanted to. My dad was a big baseball guy, and he got my love for the game started when I was 1 year old, and so it was really cool to be able to play in that league.
And you sort of got to play, and you kind of fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Kind of hooked you right after that.
Yep, never looked back.
How about you, Buster?
Yeah, I started playing when I was about 4 or 5, and they messed up a little bit with all the paperwork and stuff, and they ended up putting me in like a coach pitch league when I've never played before, and they just...
So you started early seeing live pitching.
Yeah, they just said try it out and see how you do, and if you don't do good, we'll move you back down.
You think it helped you? Or?
Yeah, I definitely think it put me on the top a little bit.
And what position do you play on the varsity team?
I pitch and I play infield.
And how about you, Adam?
I was a starting pitcher and outfielder.
Yeah. And you guys, 18 and 18 this year, you had some great moments, and you ran into some tough teams. You're playing in a tough league.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about those Stevenson games. They're so close. And do you think you could have won? Maybe got some bad breaks, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think specifically the last game of that series, we kind of let it slip away from us. We had a lead at one point, and then we ran into some trouble, and we didn't get a couple calls to go our way. So, that kind of hurt us. But earlier in that series, like you said, they're very close games, and we just couldn't put together enough hits at the right time.
Yeah, and the first game of the series at Stevenson, it was a tie ball game going into the later half of the game, and we got rained out, which kind of threw off the environment a little bit of playing a full game, like full close game.
Yeah, you're sort of all ready to play
Yeah.
the game, and it's sort of like a big old wah.
Yeah, so we had to warm
But,
up the next day and play like a 1 or 2 inning game to finish it.
Yeah, we had a couple of games when I was playing high school, and it was darkness on a Friday night, and we had a game with this team on Saturday. We had to finish the game from Friday night in the daytime,
Yeah.
which is weird, and then get ready for the second game. It's kind of weird, but that's baseball, and you guys play a lot of games, so
Yeah.
does that wear on you?
It
playing that?
definitely takes a toll on the body. If you're playing every day, then it's just like kind of high intensity workouts every day.
What so let's say it's May 5th or something
Yeah.
like that. You've already got a month of the season pretty much in, or a lot of the season in, and you're in that routine playing every day. I mean, what's your mindset going into the games? Like,
I mean, every day it's all about winning, right? We're going to the field. It's the same mindset in April that it is in June. We want to show up, we want to win whatever way we can, and on our team we had a lot of fun, that's for sure. So that's very important as well. But the mindset doesn't change throughout the season. It's just the wear and tear on your body that kind of changes things.
how about you? Al? What's
Yeah,
your
and a
mindset?
lot of like the bench players start getting into the games because that's when injuries start rolling in. Just because there's a lot of wear and tear on the body, so we get to see some of those guys come out and play and see what we got on the bench when we need them.
Yeah, and when you're out there, you're playing a team that you can beat, and all of a sudden they're getting hits, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? What do you tell yourself in your mind? I mean, say they score 3 runs, and then you got to come up to bat. I mean, do you press a little bit?
It just depends on what part of the game it is. Like first or second inning, you still got a lot of ball game to go. But if it's sixth, seventh inning, you're down by 3 runs, then you got to start changing stuff and figure out a way where you can come on top.
Yeah, and that's baseball, really. I mean, you look at the MLB, you got different teams that are scoring runs, one game, and then the next game they'll get shut out. It happens.
Sounds like a Tiger.
Exactly, just like the Tigers. And so,
Yeah.
as you get, like Buster said, as you get later in the games, it gets to crunch time, but the pressure cannot be enough. You can't let that flatten you. And so with me specifically, when I was pitching, teams start to put together a few hits. That doesn't really change much for me. I just have to focus on getting the next guy, and can't let that get to me, or else it's going to keep getting worse.
When you're pitching, and I guess what's your favorite go-to pitch?
I was always the outside fastball guy, and then I'd follow that up with a slider.
Nip the corner.
Yeah, I would always work outside. That was my thing. Yeah.
Do you can you get lefties out?
Yeah, just work the outside on them too.
Yeah, the other way, right? Right, because sometimes right-handed pitchers, there are some that have bad luck against lefties. But how fast you think you're throwing it now?
I'm probably about mid-80s, something around there. Yeah.
Do you have an effective? Well, you said you had a slider that was pretty good, but do you have a changeup at all? Or?
I didn't throw a changeup all that much this year. I did have a curveball with the slider, so I mixed that more in the end of the year.
And your fastball, is that a 4-seam?
I throw a 2-seam.
2-seam, okay. And has a little movement on it?
Yeah, that's what the catchers tell me, at least. I can't really, I don't.
Well, I mean,
it,
that's
but,
good. Yeah. No, that's good. How about you, Adam?
Yeah, no. So I haven't thrown in probably 3 months now. I've had UCL problems and it just hasn't healed yet. But in the off season, I was about 86, 88, 89, probably touched a 90. But my changeup was definitely my best pitch because it's very hard to tell the difference between a fastball and my changeup. I throw more of a circle change. The curveball, I'm trying to work on a slider, but I haven't been able to work on it very much.
Well, with the sore arm, but so let's focus on you were first base, right? Or
yeah, I played a couple games at first. Yes.
And where else did you play?
Nowhere else this
Just
season.
DH.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of hitting style do you have? What kind of? Which way do you work the count, or do you just go up there and look at the first good pitch you see?
Yeah, I try to attack the zone. So I think in my mindset, the more pitches you see, the more chance that he's going to throw you more strikes. So if you see a strike, the first couple pitches they at bat, like get up there and be aggressive, get ready to swing.
Yeah.
Because if you let it go by, then you're not going to get another one.
There are some in the pros that have that same
Yeah.
mindset. What do you hit with power, or what do you say you're?
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
My average was probably around 340 this year. I had 5 bombs, bunch of doubles, bunch of singles.
No bunts?
I actually did lay down a drag bunt this year.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. How about you, Adam, with hitting?
In terms of hitting, I'm not as much of a power guy, and I had limited at bats this year because most of my job was pitching on this team. But when I did get up there, I'm kind of a pull happy hitter, so I hit a lot of balls to the left side, and I didn't bunt a whole lot, but when I made contact with the ball, it was always to the left side. Got a few hits, got 1 double. That was good.
How about guys on your team who kind of impressed you on your team this year?
Yeah, Nick Kaminsky was definitely one of them. He was a sophomore this year and freshman last year, his second year on varsity. He had a great season, both on the mound and at the plate. You know, he came up with some timely hits. He had a home run, hit a few doubles when we needed them. Showed up in the playoffs. He shut down Port Huron Northern on the mound and got a couple hits against Anchor Bay. That was really good.
Yeah, and then Louis Mychek, he was one of our best bullpen arms. He led the team in strikeouts. He threw hard and had a nice slider on him, so he did really well for us.
And coming back for next year, how do you think the team's going to do with some of the guys that are coming back?
I think they're going to be a solid team. I mean, like guys like Nick Kaminsky, who are going to be coming into their own. Aiden Lougheed, Brody Meyer, guys have been on this team for a year now, year or two, and they're going to have more time to develop. I think that the future is bright, and there's a lot of things to look forward to.
And how do you think they'll do on the turf? It's going to be a different game.
Yeah, not a whole lot will change. I think the defense will be a little cleaner, just because the hops are more true. But a little jealous that we don't get to play on that. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you guys: are you guys disappointed? You missed it?
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
A lot.
Wait, I thought somebody told me that that they were going to maybe have it open for a game or two this year, but apparently not.
Yeah, they were supposed to get the bond a couple of years ago, but they just started building this year, and we just never got to play on it.
You guys have been out there lately, or no?
Not at the new field, no, I have not.
Oh, well, then you'll probably come back for sure next year.
Yeah.
Maybe take a look at it.
Yeah.
What does Adam Place do when Adam Place isn't playing baseball? What do you like to do? What's your favorite things?
I like to work out. Keep the body in shape. I spend a lot of time with my buddies. The baseball guys outside. Go fishing. Do whatever whatever's good that day. And
Everybody up here fishes.
yeah, that's
Even
right.
the girls.
Yeah.
They're all
And,
big fishermen.
Yeah.
I'm a big baseball guy, so Tigers are on. I'll spend the night watching the Tigers. I spend a lot of time doing that.
Now, you guys played at Jimmy John's, but do you go down to the Jimmy John's field at all to watch
Games? No, not a whole lot. I'd maybe like one a year. I go down to Tigers games, try to get as many of those as I can, but haven't been to too many Jimmy John's games.
Yeah, and Buster, when you're not playing baseball or you're just hanging out the house, keeping your mom and dad out of house and home.
Yeah, basically. Ever since school's been out, I've just been in the gym a lot because I have nothing else to do. Haven't been working very much. I'm just looking for a job right now.
Uh-huh.
I spend a little bit of time with my girl, and then
Who's your girlfriend? Does she play sports?
yeah, she played softball at Romeo.
What's her name?
Annabelle Power.
Oh, Annabelle.
Yeah,
That's your girlfriend?
she was on here. Not girlfriend, but like I spent time with her.
Oh, well, okay. A friend that's a girl.
Yeah. Basically.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and I just play a lot of basketball and
Yeah.
athletic stuff.
Yeah. And what do you think you're going to do after high school? What do you?
I'm going to play ball at Macomb for
Okay.
a year and see where it goes.
Okay, that's probably a pretty good plan. Going to the big college sometimes can be a little overwhelming, in sports. But no. Adam, what do you think you want?
I'm going to study sports management at Central Michigan.
Ah, okay. So there's a number of guys and girls from Romeo going up there to Central too. It's a nice place.
Mm-hmm.
For like sports and broadcasting and stuff, Favorite things for you to do when, around town here? Are you going to go
Around
to
town,
the
yeah.
Peach Festival? And
Yeah, Peach Festival, always go every year. It's a great time. Like stop at the Dairy Queen. That's a big thing with people in town. That's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of just like there's a lot of stuff to do around here. A lot of restaurants. There's Vera's and Balloons downtown, big candy shop. I go there a lot in the summer. They got a lot of stuff in there that I tend to like.
So you're sticking around and you're going up to Central. You're gonna miss being home here?
Yeah. I've lived here my whole life, so it's definitely going to be somewhat of a change. I'm going to look forward to coming back. Spending the summers here and everything. But it'll also be nice to get out in Mount Pleasant because I've been up there quite a bit, and it'll be a good change of pace.
You're gonna invite this guy up there?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because he's going to be tearing it up in Romeo still.
Absolutely.
So people be glad to see him get out of town, right?
Yeah.
At least your mom and dad, they must what their food bill for you every week is probably about $200-300.
It's got to be more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to eat quite a bit.
Yeah. You better get a job to help subsidize that.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, I appreciate you stopping by and spending a couple minutes with us, and congratulations on successful careers with the Romeo varsity baseball team for sure, and I wish you luck in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Next week we'll be speaking with athletic director Cody Smith, and Cody and I will be recapping all the spring sports and get you up to date on that. For the Romeo varsity baseball team, I'm Tim Meyer saying we'll see you next time right here on the Romeo Sports Recap Show.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this episode of the Romeo Sports Recap Show, powered by the Mitt TV. Remember, this show is available on both YouTube and Spotify. You can subscribe to the Mitt TV YouTube page and click the notification bell to stay up to date on the latest episodes of the Romeo Sports Recap. Or you can find us on Spotify and follow our podcast, Romeo Sports Recap. From the Mitt TV, I'm Tim Meyer, signing off with a final word from our sponsors. This podcast is powered by the Mitt TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than the Mitt TV. They can get you access to equipment, a production engineer, and even edit your podcast. That's all right here at the Mitt TV of Romeo. And you can contact them right now via email at mitt.tvromeo@gmail.com.